What is a cramp? Cramp is a sudden, painful, involuntary contraction of the voluntary muscle. Too many scientific terms, isn't it? Involuntary, something that is not under your control. And voluntary, something that is under your control. The heart, the intestines are not under our control. So we call them as involuntary. And the normal muscles that we move, contract, relax, these are the voluntary muscles. Now, these voluntary muscles which contract suddenly and painfully, when the contraction happens, it's so painful and it's not under your control. It's happening on its own. You don't contract that muscle. So this is a cramp. How to differentiate between a cramp and a tear? If you touch a muscle, it will be like a hard stone. It will be hard. But whereas if there is pain while running, sprinting, how to know whether it's a cramp or a tear? The muscle will be soft on a tonal sector. If we are looking at how to treat these two, in a cramp, you need to stretch. And if you're going to stretch a tear, you're going to cause more damage than what has already happened. Prevention of a cramp. Finally, the cause for the cramp is not known. There is still a lot of theories behind it, and no foolproof, authenticated material that we have on this is the final verdict on a cramp. Common impression is when there is going to be a dehydration more than a certain threshold, that you have lost more water, and with that goes the electrolytes, can be sodium, potassium, chloride, the possibility of the integrity and function of the muscle being affected. It responds to a subliminal stimulus without any hesitation and produces a contraction without a volitional demand. If this happens, usually it takes the calf muscle. So 80% of the time the cramps happen in the calf muscle. How to immediately act is to stretch the calf. Suppose it's the toe, to stretch the calf. It can come down. And the doubts are whether you apply ice or warm therapy there. When you apply ice, it can contract the muscle again. I would prefer a warm therapy. And it's ideal to ensure the heat of the area is increased, and so the cramp can be overcome. Apart from this, there are other medical conditions which can cause a cramp, like amyotrophic lateral sclerosis can cause. There can be constant diarrheas that can cause. And some of them can be any form of neurological condition where the nerve is affected can cause. So these are all not common in sports medicine. Common in sports medicine is related to their performance and their nutritional and hydration status. Cape Town University from South Africa talks about a neural component wherein whenever a person is excited about performance, that can cause cramp without any dehydration is one more theory that is being proposed last. And you must take it into account because it does not happen when your excitement is not there. So you need to know it happens only when they are excited about the performance in a sporting environment. So the neural theory is also taken into account. And I also mentioned that whenever a muscle responds to an optimal amount of stimulus from the nerve, it has to be above a certain threshold. If it is below that, normally muscle doesn't respond. So whenever you want to contract, that is an amount of load that comes through the nervous tissue that stimulates the muscle. Then the muscle contraction happens. So you are able to control when to move. Otherwise, it will move on its own. So when a muscle contracts on its own, it is no more under your control and no more under a relaxation mode either. So when you contract, when you relax, immediately they are happening together. Now during a cramp, it is not one muscle that may get involved. Suddenly the whole body or various other parts of the body can get involved. These are all sheer manifestation that the hydration is inadequate, and ensure that this can be avoided by checking your urine color, by ensuring your weight reduction post your performance, whether it is 1 kg, 2 kg, then replace 1 or 2 liters. These are vital information for all athletes, coaches, doctors, physios who are performing at state, national, or any level of even a school performance. Because one after another they'll be having the events without a break in a hot summer. Because most of them, when they open the school now, before August, all the school sports will be over. Because they want to finish their sports and then only the rest of the classes can go on. They have to go for the march past, they will do this. So people standing in the hot sun, not having enough water, can also go for it. So this is the month that we can see more cramp in this country, because we are programming that one sports day in a whole year. That's the only time children should play, only in before August. All the sports days should be over. So avoid them by ensuring that you can hydrate yourself optimally. Not necessarily you have to put salt in the water. If the water is tasty, it is sufficient enough to drink that water, but drink optimal amount. And don't wait for thirst to happen. I keep saying this. When someone offers water, most of the time what do you say? Hey, I'm not thirsty. No, I don't want you to be thirsty. That's why you're drinking the water. And when you pass urine, color of the urine, very important. If these are taken care of, most of the time you can avoid seeing a cramp and get sometimes even admitted in a hospital. Recently I had to meet somebody who was admitted in a hospital in the US for playing tennis and getting a cramp on the court. The person that I treated was a very famous person. The first time I ever met him was Leander Pace when he was playing in Guwahati. And this guy was so aggressive and I'm sure didn't replace enough water. Very young chap at that time. I never saw somebody so fast on the court, and had to give a walkover. I think it's the semi-final or so, where he couldn't continue to play. So that was my first experience seeing a cramp on the field and trying to help him with the stretches and then the hydration, etc.